So for the past couple of weeks, I don't know what's gotten into my brother, but he has decided that he needs to go vegan. And look, I don't really have a problem with that. It's his personal life. He can do whatever he wants. If he wants to go vegan, that's his personal choice. But for whatever reason, for the last couple of days, he has taken it upon himself to spread the whole propaganda thing. I'm not saying that veganism is bad or anything, but it's just not the way I want to live my life. I've grown up as a meat eater, and honestly, I feel like it's an essential part of my diet, and more than anything else, I love my non-vegan food too much to give it up. I'm a huge foodie, so I think it's pretty ridiculous to ask me to turn into a vegan just because my brother thinks it's the way to go. On top of that, he's also been trying to push it onto our parents, and that's so much weirder because our parents are obviously a lot older than us. And I don't think that at this point of their life, they need to change their habits or anything. I understand that it's all ethical, but as far as I'm concerned, I also try to source whatever I get ethically. Unless I'm eating out at restaurants or whatever. Anyway, my whole point is it's not his business to decide what I get to eat and not. We even had a huge fight about it about 3 days back, and when we were having dinner with our parents. It was just a small family dinner. My parents were there, me and my brother were there, and my sister-in-law was supposed to come. But she got caught up at work, so she couldn't make it. But anyway, while we were having dinner, he kept complaining about how there were literally no options for him to choose from, because most of the food contained either meat or dairy, and my parents even offered to order something for him, but he declined, and then he went on complaining about our eating habits, and I got sick of it. I told him that just because he had chosen to go vegan doesn't mean that everybody else needs to do the same. Then he started fighting with me, telling me that I didn't care about anything else apart from myself, and that we were all selfish, and that's why the planet has to suffer. And while we were debating and arguing, things got a bit heated. And he declared that unless everybody went vegan, he would not be attending any family events. Then he stormed out. And that was that. Honestly, I didn't mind it too much because to me, it was just a whole ridiculous joke and I didn't care for it at all. But my parents were actually very upset. And obviously, they didn't blame me for it, but they did say that it wasn't necessary for me to get into a debate with him. I could have just let it go, and maybe that way he wouldn't have left the dinner so angrily and made that ridiculous declaration. Anyway, I wouldn't say I was upset by his behavior, but I was definitely annoyed by it. And on top of that, the next day, I got a call from my parents and my grandma, and they were telling me that my brother had basically said he was not going to attend my grandma's birthday party unless everybody agreed to a vegan menu. It was outrageous because my grandmother was turning 81. It's been a tradition for years for us to have a ham roast on her birthday every year. So basically, he was asking us to let go of the tradition simply to appease his ego. I was pretty sure that it was not even about the environment or caring about veganism or something like that. It was about control. This was a control issue. Through and through, and it was ridiculous. And I told my parents and my grandmother that, so when they asked me to talk to him and read with him, I flat out declined because I was not going to talk to him first after the fight we had the day before. I also told them that he was only trying to get control over the whole situation. He was trying to be the big man or whatever, and the only way to deal with the situation was to just let him be, instead of trying to argue with him or anything of the sort. Because he was not going to listen to reason right now, and there was no need for us to play into his hands. My parents and my grandmother were not satisfied with that, and they said they believed the only way to fix the situation would be to talk to him. So I told him to go ahead and do it, and they did, and in the end my grandmother called me up in tears at the end of the day, saying that she had tried to talk to him, but he was not having it at all. And in the end, she had decided to have a vegan menu just for his sake, so he would come. And I was really annoyed because why was he making Our 81-year-old grandma jumped through hoops simply because he wanted to feel important. It was ridiculous, and I told my grandmother as much, and she told me that she didn't care as long as both her grandchildren were there, because at this age, the only reason she even has these parties is to be around family, and she wouldn't be happy if there was even one person missing there, no matter what the reason is. I thought it was really horrible of my brother to do that, and I made up my mind that I had to put him in his place, and well, I think that's where I might have gone a little too far, so I'm here to ask if what I did was the right thing to do or not. Basically, I won't beat about the bush anymore. What I did was I brought a ham roast to the birthday party because I knew that it means a lot to my grandma. It used to be her favorite growing up, and that's why it's a staple at her birthday parties. So it's not some pointless thing that we do. It actually has meaning, and I couldn't let her go this year without the ham roast just because my brother was being a total jerk about it. But as soon as my brother found out about it, he started throwing a fit, claiming that he had been promised that there would be no non-vegan item on the menu. He was yelling at everyone, and he made a point to say the most horrible things about me. And even I did not hold back, and I handed it right back to him because I was not going to take his idiotic behavior and pretend that it was all okay. My parents and our grandmother might have been okay with it because they did not want to pick a fight with him, but I did not care because he was being ridiculous and he needed to know it. Things got pretty heated again, and I was trying to end the argument over and over again because, after all, it was my grandma's birthday party, and I did not want to ruin it more than I already had, but he just didn't seem ready to let go, and even when our grandmother herself and our parents got involved and started trying to defuse the situation, he didn't back off. It was not until his wife stood up and started shouting at him that he decided to keep quiet for a bit. And she was not shouting, she was having a total meltdown. Which is weird because she's usually a very quiet person, and even throughout a whole fight, she had stayed silent. So for her to scream like that in public was a weird thing, and we were all shocked, and we were even more shocked when all her personal problems started coming out, and she accused him of a lot of things out there in the open, which was pretty eye-opening. She accused him of constantly wanting to have his way, of having control issues. She told him that she was sick of living under his rule because it felt like a dictatorship. She couldn't do this anymore, and in the end, the biggest shock of it all came when she declined that she had been thinking about it for a while. And she had decided she wanted a divorce and she couldn't be with him anymore because of how he'd been acting. Then she stormed out. Everybody was left completely speechless because honestly, what do you even say to something like that? I had no idea what just happened, and I was still frozen in place when he decided to turn around and start accusing me of creating a situation like this. And he started blaming me for what had happened. It was insane because if I'm not mistaken, she had already been thinking about it for a while. And I guess the incident at the birthday party just happened to be a catalyst. But still, I'm pretty sure she would have come to the same conclusion even without whatever happened at the party. And anyway, I'm definitely not the one to blame for his divorce. I didn't even know that they were having problems, and I definitely didn't have any idea that this situation was going to escalate it. However, I do have to say, I think she has a very good point. My brother has always struggled with control issues, and this is a classic example of that. The fact that he decided to enforce veganism on everyone just because he thinks it's the right way to live, I mean, it's just the stupidest thing I've ever heard. So how did he even expect everybody to play along and not say a word, especially me, who has never bothered to put his feelings first because I know that he'll just take it for granted and try to take advantage of the situation and manipulate everything so that he can always get his way. I know exactly how he functions, and I'm not going to fall for it. But again, because of how nasty the situation turned out to be, I have been having second thoughts about bringing that ham roast to the party because that is kind of what instigated him. And I'm not going to lie, that's exactly what I was just trying to do. But also, it was important for my grandma, and I wanted to do right by her as well. I guess it was a case of me hoping that there would be a chance of accomplishing both things at once by just bringing that ham roast. But of course, I couldn't have foreseen anything like this, and yet I do feel kind of responsible for it because now everybody in the family is shocked and sad, and I don't know. I just feel very guilty about it. So, what do you guys make of this? I'm very confused, to be very honest. Do you guys think I owe my brother an apology? Do you think that I should talk to him or something? I'm not sure if he would like to talk to me or not, but even then, should I apologize? AITA for bringing a ham roast to my grandma's birthday party and ruining it? Update 1. Okay, thank you so much to everybody who commented on my post. It really means a lot to me that all of you took out the time to give me advice on how to deal with the situation and just had something to say in general. So anyway, like I had said earlier, I had never expected the situation to become so complicated. But now that it is this way, I felt like I had to do some damage control. But like most people in the comments believed, my brother getting divorced is not really my fault. But the fact that I took the ham roast to the party, even when my grandmother had made it very clear that she didn't want it there, was kind of not cool of me. And the only people that I do owe an apology to would be my parents and my grandmother, because I did kind of go out of my way to create a scene at the party, and that was not so nice. So I did exactly that. I reached out to them and told them that I was really sorry for what I did. I didn't see any of this coming, and if I could, I definitely would go back in time and change what I had done, because that way at least the whole situation would have taken place in front of the rest of the family and wouldn't have been so embarrassing. Personally, I had thought that if I apologized to them, they were still going to be very cold and distant because they had been a bit aloof for the past couple of days. But surprisingly, all of them said that it was not my fault and my brother just made a big deal out of nothing at all, and he kind of dug this grave for himself, so he has to deal with the situation now. They told me that I definitely could have done without bringing the ham roast to the birthday party. It was not necessary, but again, it was not an inherent act of evil that I did, and it was not such a huge sin that he was making it out to be. After all, he knew how important it was for my grandmother, and he was the one who had been so ridiculously stubborn and made her give it up. On top of that, he has decided he's going to make it even more difficult for the family by blaming me for everything that has happened, and he's been telling everyone not to talk to me or else he's not going to talk to them. Basically, he's making people pick sides between the two of us, and I think it's just the stupidest thing he could do. Because we are not even children. There's no need for him to be doing this, and yet he's acting so immature and weird about the whole thing. I honestly just don't understand why he has to be this way, because it's dumb. Honestly, it just doesn't make any sense to me because, see, like I said, I've always known that he has struggled with control issues, but it's never been this bad. I don't know what's wrong with him. I don't know why he's acting like this, but in the past, no matter how much we fought, we still respected each other and we liked each other. Right now, though, it's anybody's guess because it doesn't feel like he likes or respects me at all. And I don't get it. I mean, surely veganism cannot be so much of a big deal to him that he's ready to cut ties with the rest of his family and even get a divorce. He wasn't even vegan until last year. So what's even all of this about? Plus, like I said, he's been trying to get everybody else to boycott me or whatever. He's been trying to get everybody in the family to stop talking to me, which is just so childish. And it's very stupid of him to think that it's actually going to work. At this point, more than anything else, I just feel bad for him because he's making a total fool out of himself, and it's pathetic. There are no two ways about it, honestly. And the fact that he doesn't even see anything wrong with his own behavior is just appalling. The fact that he's on the verge of a divorce and he still doesn't think he's doing anything wrong. I mean, what do you even say to that? And how does he blame me for all of this? All I did was bring a ham roast to the party. Surely he doesn't think that that's the reason why he's getting divorced, when even his wife made it very clear that she's been thinking about it for a while. So clearly the ham roast was not the issue. He knows that too. He just needs a scapegoat. He just needs somebody to blame for all of this, that's all. And right now, it just so happens to be me, because I'm the easiest available person to blame everything on, because I'm the one who decided to stand up to him and tell him that he couldn't just push people around and expect them to do exactly what he wants. We're all adults here. He needs to deal with his emotions like an adult and not a little toddler. But anyway, all things said and done, this is just a really sad situation for our family, and I hope that whatever it is, we can get through it soon. Because at the end of the day, he's still my brother. I don't want him to be an idiot and suffer because of his own issues. He clearly needs some sort of help, and I hope he gets it. But then I'm definitely going to be staying away from him, and I'm not going to talk to him unless he apologizes to me for all this. Update 2. Hey, so it's been a couple of weeks since my previous update, and earlier today, my sister-in-law showed up to talk to me. It was a bit surprising because I haven't spoken to my brother in quite a while, not since we had that fight, so I wasn't expecting her to show up either. But anyway, she came by a few hours after I had just come back home from work, and she looked pretty upset, so it was clear that she wanted to talk to me about something. I let her in, we made some small talk, and then she started to tell me that she was really sorry about the outburst she had at the birthday party, and she wanted to let me know that the divorce was not my fault at all. I was not even a catalyst. She had already been thinking about it for quite a while, and she had just decided that she was going to break it to him gently, but after what happened at the party, after how he acted, she just couldn't bring herself to wait anymore. She also said that she felt like she needed to talk to somebody from the family and offer an explanation as to what was going on, because obviously my brother hasn't told anybody, and she's pretty close to us. My parents and I love her, and so does my grandmother, and she said she didn't want us to think badly of her for having that outburst, which we weren't doing anyway, because it was pretty evident that she had her reasons. Only we didn't know what those reasons were. But anyway, today she came to me to give me an explanation, and man, honestly, after hearing her out, I don't even understand how she made it work with my brother for so long anyway. They've been together for 5 years, married for 2, and basically they've been together pretty much since college. So obviously we always thought that they were both meant to be, but apparently there was a lot going on that we had no idea about, because both of them were very careful to pretend to be the perfect couple in front of everyone. However, in their own home, it was something else altogether. Apparently my brother had always had a control thing with her as well, and he would pick fights with her over the smallest things because he was so insecure and jealous of her interacting with anybody of the opposite gender, and sometimes even her own friends of the same gender. It got to a point where she decided not to have any male friends at all, because that way it was much easier. She basically just cut off everybody from high school and college who was not a girl. And even after that, it was not enough for my brother, and he would complain about how she was spending too much time with her friends and how he felt like their relationship was being neglected. So that was one thing, and that was something that they had been struggling with right from the beginning of their relationship. But she thought that after getting married it would change, and he would become more secure, but it didn't. On top of that, there was the fact that she really wanted to have a baby and start a family. But he kept delaying it, and he kept saying that he wasn't ready, but in reality he just never had wanted children, and yet he had led her to believe otherwise all along, especially when they were dating, which is why she decided to get married to him. But now she feels cheated, and honestly, rightfully so. And while she was telling me all this, I just felt so bad for her, because nobody would have to deal with this kind of thing. And it's clear that she really loves my brother. For whatever reason, So this is very hard for her. And the fact that in spite of it being so difficult for her, she felt like she had to offer an explanation to his family. I mean, this woman is a saint in all honesty. I was actually outraged on her behalf because I couldn't even imagine my brother doing something like this because in spite of all his flaws, I thought that at least he respected women and his relationship with his wife. But clearly that's not the case, and now I don't feel bad for him at all. He deserves exactly what's going on with him, and he can feel as upset as he wants to. He can say whatever he wants to. But I'm really glad that my sister-in-law has decided to leave him because, like I said, nobody deserves to go through something like this. I even told her that if need be, I'll help her or whatever, however I can. And I would love to be there for her because at the end of the day, she's a wonderful woman, and I wanted her to know that. I also told her that she doesn't need to go through this again and bring herself to narrate all of this to our parents. I'll tell them myself because I know that it's going to be very difficult for her. God knows how difficult it was for her to come to me and tell me all this. I also told her that if she wanted to, we wouldn't bother her. But if she was okay with it, then we would love to keep in touch because she really is a wonderful person and I've always liked her, not just because she's my sister-in-law, but because she's really cool and sweet. And she told me that she would love to keep in touch. She just wasn't sure if we would want that because at the end of the day, she is divorcing my brother. But honestly, that doesn't matter. Knowing what I know now, it's just insane that she managed to stay with him for so long. And we were all convinced that they were so happy together when that was so far from the truth. Just goes to show, I guess, you never really know what's going on with people. And I thought I knew my brother, but clearly I don't. Anyway, I'm going to have to tell my parents all of this. And I'm still reeling from the shock of it all, but I know that this has to be done. Update 3. So I told my parents everything I found out about my brother's relationship with his wife, and honestly, they were even more shocked than I had been, because at the end of the day, it's their son I was talking about. And for a couple of minutes, they couldn't even believe that this was my brother I was referring to. I was afraid that they were not going to believe my sister-in-law, but thankfully, they didn't think that she was lying because at the end of the day, she didn't have any reason to lie. She didn't even have any reason to come to us and tell us all this, and yet she did, because she thought that it was the decent thing to do. So there was no reason for her to make up all of this, especially after she had been with him for so long. My parents are obviously very upset about all of it, and we have decided my grandmother doesn't need to know any of this, because she's old enough as it is, and at her age, I don't think it would be good for her to be subjected to this kind of thing. We had been hoping that my brother would contact us and we would be able to talk things out or whatever, but for now, I think it's a good thing that he's not contacted us and that he is choosing to stay away from all of us, because clearly he has his own issues to sort through. I think it's for the best if we don't talk to him, because honestly, right now, I don't think I even want to talk to him, and my parents feel the same way too. Though they are a lot more upset about it, because obviously this is their son. And I can understand that this puts them in a very difficult position, but well, what can we do? It's just really sad, to be very honest, when I think about it, because no matter what was going on with him, and however much we fought, I was always sure that he was a good husband to his wife. And that was one redeeming quality. And I always thought that I would love to have a relationship like theirs. But, well, what can I say now? It's awful knowing all of this. And a very selfish part of me wishes that I didn't know that at all. But thankfully, it's a very small and selfish part, and mostly I'm glad I know the truth now, and I'm even happier that my sister-in-law is choosing to leave him. It might sound rude, but yeah, that's what it really is. Update 4. Hey, so it's been a year since my previous update, and a lot of things have changed. My brother and I are still not exactly on speaking terms, but we are civil to each other, at least. We do see each other at family events, but that's pretty much it. He got divorced a couple of months back, so he's not been very active on social media or whatever lately. So I don't really know what he's up to, and neither do my parents, because he doesn't talk to them much either. But well, there's nothing to be done about it. He does check up on our grandma occasionally, though, so I guess that's one good thing. But yeah, we are all civil to each other, and even though he has never apologized, we know he's trying to change, because even though I don't know exactly what he's up to, I don't know that he's been in therapy for the past couple of months, so who knows? Maybe the apologies that we've been waiting for so long might be coming along sometime soon, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed for it. Until then, I'm pretty happy with my life. I'm still in touch with my ex-sister-in-law, and I know that she's doing much better for herself. She's planning on adopting a child on her own because she didn't want to wait for a new relationship or whatever. And I think that's pretty brave of her. As for me, I've been in a pretty serious relationship for the past couple of months, and I'm planning on moving in with him soon. And if things go well, by the end of the year, we might even get engaged. And I'm still on whether I want to invite my brother to the wedding or not, but I guess I might, just to be polite. Anyway, that's all in the future. And for now, I'm just happy that I'm in a position where I can be content with my life, very frankly. Stay tuned for more stories from Our Girl Relationships.